This is the book that I'll be reviewing for this video, so let's get started. The title is Stay-at-Home Calls for Poetry Reflecting on My Life. Now, before I go any further, I just want to be transparent and say that I am not really knowledgeable in poetry or anything like that, so I'm not sure how helpful I can be, but I'm going to do my best to give suggestions that I think may benefit this author, but I really don't have any experience when it comes to poetry or books like that, so okay, moving on. So for your actual title, I think that's great. From my knowledge, nonfiction books normally have titles that are more simple and not as long. And I'm guessing this is either nonfiction or it's just that kind of style of book where normally you don't have a lot of keywords in the title, more of a high content book. So I think your title is great. The only suggestion I may have would be your capitalization. It looks like you have all of these capitalized as stay-at-home calls and poetry, and you didn't capitalize the for, which made sense, but then you have the life over here not capitalized, or the my life. So I would maybe change the capitalization and make it all the same, like capitalize all of the words except for a few, like for and etc. So I would probably capitalize the my and the life and not capitalize the on. But regardless, I think that that's a great title and you've obviously been making sales. So congratulations. It looks like you published this July 12th, 2022. So it's still a fairly new book. It's been out for a few months and you have 2 5-star ratings, which is amazing. And your author name looks to just be your name unless you use a pen name. So I did click on your author page. I'm not going to click on it here, but your author page looks pretty decent. You have a little bio and your book is linked there. My only suggestion with the author page is that I noticed you had another notebook there as well. It didn't really seem related to your poetry book at all, so I maybe would have a different page for that. But I'm not sure, you might have them related and I just may not know how. And your price is $8.50. I'm not sure the prices for normal poetry books. I feel like it's probably a range like most high content books. So you could buy a cookbook for $5 and another cookbook for $50. So $8.50 seems to be fair. When we look at the keywords, I can scroll down and see what some other prices are, but I think that's a decent price. And looking at your description, it says, this poetry collection, split into 3 chapters, takes you inside the author's home and core as she explores the question, what does it mean to be unapologetically me? Reflect your years on high school, college years, and I'm not going to keep reading the rest of it, but I think this is a really, really great description. I think that you kind of grab the reader's attention. I love that you bolded part of it, so that kind of is where my eyes are drawn to. And it really speaks to a lot of people, in my opinion. I think all of your grammar is great. I think that this kind of like hooks the reader into like, oh my goodness, like I want to find out like what she is talking about, because I just think your description is really eye-catching. So kudos to you. That's amazing. Looking at your cover, I love the colors. I think especially because when I get to the keyword, one of them was poetry about depression, stay-at-home poetry. So this seems to be more of a, not as much of a lighthearted topic. So some cooler colors work with that theme. So I think the blue that you chose here is great. And although you have blue for the background and blue for the words, I actually can read them pretty well. It might be good to have them kind of pop out a little bit more, but I didn't really have any issues, so I think that's good. I also think that the photo you have in the picture is very, very clever. I'm not 100% sure if the girl is supposed to be you or not. I didn't want to make any assumptions, but regardless, I think that it's really cool and unique and different. The only suggestion I have would be on capitalization. I'm not sure if you did it on purpose, having everything lowercase, but maybe at least even your name be capitalized, but that again is totally up to you. I think overall your cover looks great, and you have the look inside feature since it's high content, and it looks well put together. It's all formatted right. I'm not exactly sure how poetry books are supposed to look, but you definitely give the reader tons of information to go off of. And your back says, "My voice within is emerging. It's time I inhale, exhale, release." So I think that is well done, very well done. And I just noticed up here it says literature and fiction, poetry. So ignore my nonfiction comment earlier. So this is fiction if we're going off of the categories there. Has 68 pages. That's probably fine. 5 by 8 inches. So it's not a really big book. That's kind of a perfect fit in your hand type of book. So I think that's a great size that you selected. Has a bestsellers rank of 820,000. That's awesome. Congratulations. It's ranking pretty well in these different categories. And you have 2 5-star ratings already. And I did read this down here. It's by an anonymous person, so that's why I decided to show it. But it's an amazing review, so that is definitely great to read. And I think you should be very proud of yourself with how you're doing. So moving on to actually your website, you share with me a website link, which is really cool. I'm not going to go over it too much because that's not really the point of these videos, but I think it's amazing that you have this. This is something like a little extra to get you to stand out. Plus, if you advertise this within your books, people can go here and look at everything else you have. You have children's books, notebook freebies, a contact page, homepage, and then other books. And I just think it's awesome. You have it available to be ordered off of Amazon. And I really love this. I love the color theme. I think this is great. And I actually can see the cover a lot bigger here. And I think it's very well done. So amazing job. Again, these are all just my own opinions and suggestions. You don't have to listen to me at all. But I'm just trying to be honest and help you out. So moving on to your keywords, one of them was stay-at-home poetry. So it doesn't have the best niche score, but we don't always have to go off of that. I know you researched a bunch of different niches and keywords, so I'm pretty confident that you probably did your homework and did a great job, especially since you're making sales, which is awesome. And there are some individually published on this page. There's 9. And if I scroll down, your book is number 1, which is awesome. So you're ranking very well. You're the first one here. And looking at all of these other ones and the prices are kind of all over the place. So I think how you have it priced is probably fair. Hopefully you're making a decent royalty. I try to make at least a $2 royalty, if not more, on every book. That's just me personally. Moving on to poetry about depression was another word you put. Has a niche score that's better. It's 34. There's 11 individually published on the first page, 4,000 results, almost 600,000 bestseller rank. So it's not the best, but again, if you combine everything that you have, it probably is a decent niche overall. And if it's something that you're really passionate about, then just go ahead and do it. And obviously you're making sales. You seem to be very good at it. So I'm not going to be too nitpicky on your keywords here, especially because it's not really a type of book that I'm familiar with. So let me scroll down and see if we can find your book kind of in the top here. There are 4,000 results, so it may not be on the first page yet, but I definitely think that that could be a possibility for you. I don't really see it here, but that's okay. You are on the first page for this keyword, and the more sales that you make, the higher your book can rank with other keywords. So overall, I think you're doing an incredible job. I would definitely try not to repeat anything in the keywords. I'm not sure how you have it in your actual back end, but for example, like stay-at-home poetry and poetry about depression. I wouldn't put poetry twice. Goodness. There we go. And I just think that you could use that for something else. You can use it for a different keyword. I apologize. I'm stumbling over my words today. Just been one of those days, I guess. But anyways, overall, I think you're doing a great job. Your categories all seem to be good as well. This says Black and African American poetry, poetry by women. That all seems accurate to me. And overall, I think you're doing great. It says publisher is Words to Books LLC, which is also what your website is. So I think that's really cool that you're creating like a brand for yourself. and you're obviously off to a great start. I don't know if this is your first book, but if it is, I think you're doing an amazing job. And again, like, I'm no expert on this type of book at all, and I don't claim to be. So definitely take my suggestions with a grain of salt if you would like to. But overall, I think you're doing a great job. So I really hope that you continue with KDP, and I hope that you see and have lots and lots of success, because I think that you are off to an amazing start. So thank you so much for submitting your book. I greatly appreciate it. And I really hope that everyone watching and listening to this has learned something. And I appreciate you all watching and listening. So I hope you have a great day.